Welcome back to Take That L, episode 18. Gamescom was in the last few days, so we got some things to review there, and we'll let Tusha get right into it.
Yeah, so I picked out a few games I wanted to talk about. These are the games that I thought looked most interesting to me. First off, you got Hellboy, Web of Word. I know we talked about that a little bit on it was either last podcast or a few podcasts before that, but they released a trailer for it. So I'm just gonna run over it a little bit. It is a roguelike game, so you like start off in like the base and then you like go through different worlds, I think, and then you fight. It's like a first person, not first person, but it's like a third person brawler type of game. um Hellboy uses his like fist a lot. He also's got like a gun that you can pick up and use. So it's supposed to be released on October 4th, 2023. They still haven't released a price for it, but it comes out on all the consoles: PS4, Xbox, Switch, PC. I still don't know if I want to pick that one up. I still have a shit ton of games I still have to play through, but that's a maybe for me. Possible pickup. I don't know about you guys, if you guys are into Hellboy or any of roguelikes. So
I'm just worried about like the art style looks cool because it's like comic-y. It just seems like it's a little bit empty, if you know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
That's
yeah, I
that's
know
what
what
I
you're
got
saying.
from watching the trailer. It just kind of seemed like it was just not mindless, but you play it and then okay, that's it type of thing.
Yeah,
It's like I feel like if it was just a little bit more detailed and maybe the backgrounds were a little bit more, it would be a really cool art style. I remember I had the same issue when I first saw that original trailer, and it doesn't look like it's changed too much. But who knows? Maybe it's
yeah,
a really fun game. We'll see. I don't know. I got
yeah,
no opinions of it right now.
In the same
Same.
boat.
I mean, that's a pretty like close release date for it. That's October this year.
yeah,
I mean, I guess we got a little time, but it would have been nicer to see a little more. Um, just kind of like what the game's about, I guess.
yeah.
I
Because
mean,
I feel like
we got like a month,
yeah, I feel like right
but
now, like I saw one guy play through for like 6 minutes, and it seems like the different worlds are pretty similar. You can just kind of walk through and like fight monsters. There's no like uniqueness to each world. It seems like the monsters
yeah, it seems
look
like it'll
decent,
get
but it's like
repetitive
you're just
quick.
fighting the same thing over and over again. But I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
I was
no,
see.
I
looking
think
through the
that's
comments, and it looks like they do like the art style. It does remind them of the original comics of Hellboy. So there's the plus for that. There are some people saying that um the fighting looks a little bit bland.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like,
definitely.
it's like, how do you progress within each playthrough? I get a roguelike, it's probably going to reset after every death, but even within certain lives, like Noita for like the minor one or Hades, like there's progression within it that changes the way
Like
Hmm.
you
pseudo
fight.
progression.
Yeah, well, it's not even like for Noita. There's no pseudo progression. You restart after every single thing from scratch. But
No,
still,
you get to in Noida you learn what certain spells do each playthrough, and it saves it as a catalog. Same with monsters.
okay.
That's the
So
pseudo
there's
progression is your
yeah.
knowledge.
So there's
Yeah,
like I would say there's not a ton of pseudo progression in Noita as there is. There's more in Hades, I would say. But
Yeah.
um,
definitely.
when I was watching the Hellboy gameplay, it didn't seem like the combat changed throughout a playthrough. Like it felt very consistent. Like I don't know if you get more abilities or what it is, but there's not like
Yeah,
items or anything that I saw that would change the way you play, and that's kind of where it seemed bland to me. Is that kind of felt like you were just doing the same thing over and over.
yeah.
But we just
I
don't know
felt
what the
that too. I
gameplay
mean, I'm
says.
probably just gonna wait until someone buys it and like see if it's any better. But for now, it's like a maybe for
Yeah, it's
me if I
definitely not
pick
a
it up.
pre-order for me.
Definitely not.
Yeah, no,
And then the other game I
they,
want to
they
talk
didn't
about was no, go ahead, Curtis. Sorry.
they didn't release a price for it, did they?
No, not yet.
That you saw? No, okay,
Mm-mm.
but go ahead.
So Song of Nunu, it's a League of Legends like branch off game. It's supposed to be like an adventure game. You're playing as like Nunu and Willump. You're exploring Freljord. Um, the trailer for it was like more story type. I didn't really get to see a lot of gameplay until like the last like 30 seconds, and I
It
wasn't
looks like an
that.
adventure platformer,
Yeah,
like a
I
puzzle
wasn't that like
solving type thing.
stunned from it, but I mean, I'm a really big fan of
I mean,
League of
it's about
Legends,
Nunu.
though.
I think it's more of a kid-oriented game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
cool.
as much as I hate League, it does kind of look like a fun little game. That would be.
for
It
sure.
seems like it might be a little short, but I think it'd be a cool kind of like a puzzle type of game for somebody, but
I think Riot Games has just been trying to expand their repertoire of what types of games they can make. So
Yeah,
they
definitely.
had the Silas Magebreaker game, and now this. So it's just kind of like breaking into the indie scene a little bit more,
Yeah.
trying to have more variety to like the world that they're trying to build up, especially because they're trying to ramp up to the MMO, which I will probably try and play at some point once
Oh,
it comes
yeah.
out.
And so with these games, Riot Games isn't directly like what is that, working on these games. They like branch out to other developers,
Yeah.
third-party developers to make these
They're
games.
just the
which I thought
publisher,
was-
not necessarily the developer.
Yeah, exactly. Probably won't pick that one up, but it's something
Yeah,
cool.
I think it's not really oriented as or like
depends
our
how
Yeah.
much it is.
I feel like it'd be a fun game like a Switch where I'm just kind of like laying around and playing
Yeah,
something quick. You know,
Is it intended to be a free game, or is it going to be paid?
no, I think it's probably about like $20-$30.
Because I feel like
I
a lot of
can see
Riot's
10
games are
bucks.
free.
No,
Aren't Riot's? No?
well,
Valorant's
I
free.
mean, League and Valorant are free, but
No, their indie games have been priced at like $20
Yeah.
bucks each.
Oh, okay. I haven't played any of them, so.
and then Killing Floor 3, they made an announcement trailer. I've played the second one with Vinny like twice. We got it on sale for like $5. You're like, fuck it, we play a little bit of it. It wasn't really that fun in my opinion. It's just like reminded me of like another Nazi zombies type of game. I
I
prefer
hear that the
Nazi
following
zombies
for
over
it
it,
is
but-
pretty.
Okay.
I think the following for it is pretty intense. Like it's if you like that genre, it's really fun.
Yeah, I'm so happy I bought the last one and played it for 30 minutes. So I might not buy this one out of spite.
It's
think-
like you can. It's like the problem is you can only play like one or two of these types of games and only stick to that one of it. You can't have because ours is like
Right.
League. We have to stick to playing League. You can't play Killing Floor 3 because if you want to enjoy it a lot, you got to play it a lot type of thing.
Yeah.
Like what's the other one? Dying. No. The
Dead
one that Winter
by-
plays.
Dying Light.
Back
Dead
for
by
Blood.
Daylight.
Dead
Stuff
Light?
like that.
Yeah,
It's
Dead
like
by
you,
Yeah.
the people who play
Yeah.
it a shit ton really enjoy it, but then other people who just get into it usually don't like see the appeal of it until you've actually gotten really good at it.
Well, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
think
this one's
the
gonna
one
get
saving grace
overshadowed
about
by.
this. Go ahead, Noah. Sorry.
I was gonna say this is gonna get overshadowed by Modern Warfare 3 because Modern Warfare 3 is bringing back zombies and
Nazi zombies.
Call of Duty
yeah.
zombies always kind of trumps just about any other zombie game, regardless. Just because
Yeah,
of
I
the size of
agree.
the player base
Well,
and
if they
the
do it
nostalgia.
good, I mean, if they've
Yeah,
had it
last
like
ones
the
are
other
kinda
failed
trash.
versions of it,
Right, but if you're gonna release two zombie games at the same time, I'm pretty damn sure that Modern Warfare is probably gonna outdo Killing Floor.
Definitely.
maybe if Killing Floor is like priced at like $40 or something.
Yeah.
It
Even
usually
then, I
is.
still
It's
like I
usually
would
I think it's like
pick up.
$20 to $40.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see.
Tishy, so what were
Probably
you
pass
saying?
on that one too. Probably gonna pass on that
Okay.
that game.
Hard
but
pass.
There's a lot of
Probably hard
games coming
pass.
out. It's
There are
hard
a
to
lot
choose.
there are a lot of fucking games.
Dude, then you got Madden 24 coming out this week, NBA 2K
Ah,
coming
shut
out
the hell
next month, I
up.
think. Dude, they take my money every year. And it's the same fucking game over and over again.
Get out
Every
of
year.
here. What? Is that not
No,
COD?
this one's a little bit better, but we can talk about that later.
COD's
or
the
not.
same shit every year. And
Just climbing the mountain.
Dude, they take my money every year. Doesn't matter.
And then the last game I want to talk about, this is probably the game I'm most excited for, is Black Myth Wukong. I saw the trailer for it and I thought it looked hella fucking sick. I just think the art style of the game is super cool. I'm not really into like Chinese mythology, but it just like I
It
know about
reminded
Wukong
me
and
of
his
God of
staff a
War.
little bit, but yeah, that's all I was gonna say. It reminds me
Yeah,
of
of all
God
the
of War.
games where you're going to compare it to Dark Souls, this is one where it actually makes sense to compare it to Dark Souls because
it
it is a Dark Souls type game.
Okay.
reminded me a little bit of like Sekiro Shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadows
Gameplay.
Die Twice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it actually looks pretty cool.
I think it looks sick.
this actually might be something I'll look into.
Definitely,
I
yeah.
feel like this one got the most press coming out of Gamescom as well. Just because like the gameplay was probably the most impressive from what
Mhm.
they shared
Mm-hmm.
out of any of these, in my opinion. And these are the type of games I love. I'm assuming it's going to be a single player only.
Single
type game.
player story
Um,
playthrough, yeah.
Most likely. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it looks like based on everything we've seen. So it's probably my favorite.
I thought
thing
this
that I
one
saw
looked
from the
cool
Gamescom.
because the bosses are like unique. because I think they featured like 2 different bosses in the trailer, and I thought they looked sick. Like
The Scorpion one was
fighting
pretty
with
cool.
Wukong with his staff and like using different moves, I thought was just so cool.
Improve your skills. Yeah, I like it. I think they're trying to add the versatility that Sekiro brought, which was like, so normally Dark Souls games used to be only like 2-dimensional. You couldn't really, you could jump, but you didn't really do anything with it. It was just to like kind of jump across stuff. You never
Yeah.
had like, oh, climb up this and then jump down and attack, or like throw your enemy up into the air and like combo them. So Sekiro added that, and I think Wukong is going to expand even more on that verticality, which could be really cool.
Hell yeah.
Is it actually done by like the Dark Souls
No,
developers?
it's not from Software.
I think it's a
So I
Chinese
got more of a God of
company,
War
isn't it?
feel from the game from the gameplay that I saw than a Dark Souls feel.
No, it's
But
a Dark
maybe
Souls game.
It's definitely a Dark Souls game.
Alright.
You smoking crack?
He's all right. All right.
Maybe.
God of War has Dark Souls mechanic type fighting, which isn't a Dark Souls thing. That was like,
Yeah.
you know, like some of the original fighter games had that style. It's just that Dark Souls is very specific in the manner in which you fight certain bosses in a certain way, you fight enemies in a certain way. Like you have like the parry attack windows, things like that. The lock-on feature.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
quit all the
where I
too
thought
quick.
War was like the more like the godly abilities and shit like that, where like Wukong is, it's not just like sword, shield, parry, block, attack type bullshit with
You ever
rolling.
played Dark Souls?
I have. I suck ass at it, and I haven't played it
There's
very
the
long.
god abilities in Dark Souls.
There is, but I don't know. I don't know. For me, that's the more the gameplay feel that I got, but I might have been off base on that one.
Yeah, there was also a trailer for Little Nightmares 3. I don't know if you guys saw it. You guys never played any of the other ones, right?
No, I have not.
Curtis, did you play Little Nightmares? as well?
I played the first one and I didn't care for it that much. Like, it wasn't my
Oh,
type
come
of game, but
on. Didn't you play
I-
Spyro as a kid?
yeah.
Dude, platformers are goated, dude.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I got the ones on PlayStation for free when they came out, and I tried them, and I didn't really care for it too much. But
If anybody likes super atmospheric platformers with a really like, these are like, I call these like the YouTube hit games. People love to watch through these games on YouTube. What was that? Like Limbo,
Yeah.
Limbo's one of them.
Inside, Little Nightmares. All these, they have like really, really cool atmospheric worlds that you can see as you traverse the platforming. So it's not necessarily about the puzzles and platforming. It's more about seeing the world and what it like stands for, what their ideas are in the background as you're doing that stuff. If anybody should check out Little Nightmares. That's a really cool series.
Yeah, I know they got a pretty good following too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only heard good things about the first two, so third one actually seems like it might be good, but again, it doesn't seem like my type of game, so I'm curious to see how it'll play out.
Yeah, I feel like with these types of games, I get them on my Switch. Like I said before, with like Song of Nunu.
Yeah,
where I
these
can
would
just,
be
like,
good Switch games.
sit down and just like play a game for half an hour, just to relax and dive into this atmospheric world like you were talking about, Connor. But yeah, we'll see.
I kind of wanted to talk about that type of thing actually, where I know that we talked a while back about Bobby Kotick. He's the Activision CEO. He had made some statements before saying that single player games were, generally speaking, dying off in the video game industry, and that they would be surpassed by the multiplayer visceral experience, as he put it. And I wanted to put it out to the audience as well as you guys and talk about how, from my perspective, single player games have actually increased in popularity in the modern era more than they have in the past, just because I was looking up the top 10 single player games in 2023, or just sold games in general, not just single player. So the most sold games, and a majority of that list includes single player games, like Hogwarts Legacy, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Tears of the Kingdom, Resident Evil 4. Obviously, there are still big multiplayer games up there like Call of Duty, but I just got back into Baldur's Gate 3, and I've been having a blast playing that single player experience and I want to see what you guys thought about your single player experiences. Have you been having more fun in multiplayer, or have you been having more fun in single player? And what do you think the future of both of them is? Obviously, they both have their place in the future, but what do you
Yeah.
think of single player right now?
I think that single player games are more apt to be best sellers on a year to year basis because I feel like the largest multiplayer games probably still have the biggest player base. You look at like League of Legends, Dota, they're not releasing those on a year to year basis and they're also free to enter. So they're probably still generating a hell of a lot more money when you think about all the microtransactions and things that
Yeah.
go along with it. So I think he's wrong in the fact that death of single player is a thing because those AAA games that do super well are almost always the games of the year and they do super well. But he does have a point that probably like if you look at the average player base of like concurrent players, I would assume that multiplayer, like massive online multiplayer, is probably a lot higher than that of a single player game.
Well, I mean,
Baldur's Gate recently hit a all-time concurrent high Steam record.
Baldur's Gate is also multiplayer though.
It's not really multiplayer. You can
I don't
play
know.
with 4 people, but
I'm aware that you can play as single player just as much as you can play with multiplayer. Y'all played multiplayer for the first 3 weeks that you played it.
yeah,
Y'all
but
were in there until
I
4
was
o'clock every
concurrently
morning.
playing the single player version as well. I
I
wasn't
was like,
solely
y'all were in
playing
that game
multi.
until 4 o'clock in the morning for like a week
Yeah.
straight.
yeah.
But I wouldn't consider that so something like Trine. If you guys know what that is, yeah, Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun game.
But I wouldn't consider that multiplayer. It's more co-op.
No. Yeah, yeah.
I see
No,
what you're
it's
saying.
like
Yeah.
you play through a single player experience together rather than the multiplayer Bobby Kotick version where it's the competitive
Open world competitive.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, those
Yeah,
type of
I mean,
games.
I would definitely say like in today's games, I feel like new like strictly multiplayer games that come out, they're really popular, and then they die out fairly quickly. I think the ones that stick around are like League, Call of Duty, those type of games will stick around for multiplayer, but I think the new ones they put out just die so quickly.
Yeah.
Well, even
You'll
with
have
Call
it-
of Duty, I feel like they're kind of like a
Yeah,
snake.
yeah.
They have to shed their skin and like.
Yeah.
So let's create the new one so that our game is revitalized. You
It
know.
gets about 3 months of good playtime, or even less for some of them, and then it dies for 8 to 9 months, and then they have to redo it again. Just like
I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm playing by myself in multiplayer, it's not nearly as fun.
No,
But
yeah.
I mean, if I'm playing like with a group of friends, then it's completely different.
Right.
I mean, you could basically play any game with a group of friends and make it fun, even if it's a single player like co-op type of game.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think single player games are kind of still at the top. I think that's what people look for is like a good story that they can invest themselves in,
Yeah,
and then just kind of look for that multiplayer to be like, kind of like that next backup or like the top of the cake, just to make it a little better. Like, hey, I can play with my friends still. But
I
Chushu,
feel like,
what do you think?
yeah, I feel like for me, like when I hop on my computer, I'm always searching for that competitiveness in games. So that's why I'm always playing League or Fortnite with Emily. Like, I feel like for me, it's like a chore to do a single player game because it's like I'm playing alone and like I understand for like the experience and the story of the game, but it doesn't satisfy my needs as a gamer. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that too.
My gamer needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand that there are certain individuals where multiplayer as an experience is much more enjoyable to them.
Yeah.
You liked Take-Two, didn't you? It Takes Two?
Yes.
Yes, I would consider that to be a single player experience.
That's a single
But
player
with a
co-op
friend,
experience. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Remnant 2, like we're playing right now, too, shows like very similar in that respect, where it's, a lobby of maybe 2 to 3, 4 people.
Yeah. The strictly single player experience is definitely not for everyone. I completely agree with you on that. What I think of single player games a lot of the time is that with the advent of the Call of Duty multiplayer experience, where it's fast-paced lobbies of people in and out, quick-paced experience, I found that the original Call of Duties had amazing single-player experiences in addition to their really fun multiplayer, and I think that video game companies have bought into the multiplayer as the future, and they've set aside the single player to propel into the multiplayer scene. And I think they've kind of been punished recently because now those multiplayer games that used to have just both compacted have split off, and now you have to go one or the other. And like
Yeah.
Dusha, you're gonna get split to the multiplayer, and other people like me are gonna get split to the single player, and we don't have time to do both, you know.
Right.
So
I mean, it was nice in like the MW2, MW3 where you got campaign, Spec Ops, and multiplayer. So you could
It-
do whatever you wanted, and Spec Ops was kind of like a co-op too. So it
Okay.
wasn't like you're still strictly by yourself. So that was really nice. But they've kind of been, like you said, straying away from that and separating it more.
They did have that in Modern Warfare 2, though. They did have a full suite of campaign, spec ops, and multiplayer. I don't think they rolled all of them out right away, and I think that's probably where they missed in Modern
Mhm.
Warfare 2. I also just didn't enjoy Modern Warfare 2 for more than like a month. I thought the campaign was really good. So I think they're kind of starting to revive some of that stuff. I'm curious to see what Modern Warfare 3 does. Um, but we'll see.
Yeah.
For me, when single player games, I'm honestly having my most fun gaming when I'm playing a single player game. I don't know about
Okay.
you guys. Like, I love multiplayer games and I love jamming with my friends, but like, I have the best gaming experience when I'm playing by myself. You know,
That's fair.
Skyrim, Mountain
I
Blade,
guess those role.
Spider-Man 2.
I'm more of like a role playing game or just like single player. Like, I guess I don't know if you consider Spider-Man a role playing game, but like
I'd say so.
those single players where you're kind of like it's still open world and you can still collect your own things and do what you want, but then you still have that aspect of doing the story mission.
Yep.
So those are probably my like most enjoyable games that are like that.
Yep.
I think single player games provide the best means for storytelling
Definitely.
and like emotional conveyance of stories, like like the death of a character that you really enjoyed in a game, or like super intense emotional moments or whatever. And then multiplayer brings in that fast paced, I mean, Bobby Kotick did have a point. It does bring this visceral feeling, when you get like a pentakill in League, or you get like the nuke in Call of Duty or something.
Yeah.
So there are those visceral moments where it's like this quick rush, but I feel like a lot of the what do you okay I'll leave this up to the audience to think what they want. Are some of your most memorable moments in gaming in single player games or in multiplayer? I'm genuinely interested. I'm not going to pick either
A good
side.
question.
I have my own take on it, but I think that's a good question to
That's
ask.
a good question.
Are
And
we
I
giving
think
our
we can,
opinions on that or no?
if you want to, if it's interesting to you guys, you sure go for it.
For me, it's single player, bar none. Just the feel, like
Well,
the
you didn't
feeling-
enjoy some of those League games that we were playing before.
Get me out! Get me out! I want to surrender at 15 minutes half the time, but dude, it feels good to like to have a good play in League. I don't have that many of them. I'm dog shit at that game, but no, I feel like my most memorable, like all my top games, like I'm gonna say like my top 5 games, almost none of them are multiplayer. Just because I had such an enjoyable
Okay.
experience playing them through.
Yeah, that's
That
fair.
is true. I do find that I'm looking at top games a lot of the time because of the storytelling of it.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm 50-50 because I've got some pretty fun memories from GTA 5 online, and even like popping off in MW2 and getting nukes and stuff like that is really enjoyable. But I will say, like, especially for games like God of War, when you get into a really intense boss fight and you're mashing combos to hit everything, and like the cinematics are just on point.
Yeah.
That is one of like the biggest things for me when you're just sitting on like the edge of your seat waiting for something to happen next. So that's one aspect I really liked. So I'm kind of in the middle.
Sure, I'm interested to hear what you have to say because you have a lot of League clips. But I know that you have played stuff like Remnant and other types of those co-op. Do you find that you still remember your League plays more?
I would say yes, just because I've been so invested in that game for like 5+ years now, and so it does feel good when I like make a super cool play. That's why I have like a library of full of clips. But for that emotional connection and that story driven like that plot, I feel like I get that with like movies because I'm a movie buff too, and so I watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like for me, I get that satisfaction from movies, whereas video games for me, it's like, oh, I'm here to like kick someone's ass. I'm here to like just like
Yeah.
win
Respect
and
that,
like
yeah.
exactly like I get that emotional connection in some games, but like for me personally, it's just like I just want to play against people to show them that I'm better at this game than them, and that just makes me feel good.
I wonder if there's a connection there. Maybe a lot of multiplayer like focused players are also movie buffs, and they get that storytelling through movies instead of the games. Interesting.
I watch movies all day long, and I still enjoy being more part of it and engrossed in it.
That's
There's
fair.
exceptions to everything.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm kind of split actually, because I feel like during my childhood, I feel like I remember a few more of the multiplayer, like Halo Reach, original Call of Duty.
Black Ops 2.
Oh man, that brings Halo Reach brings back some memories, dude.
It's so hard, man. It's so hard to tell like where we fit in that.
Fucking big team battle. Oh man, that brings back some memories.
The capture the flag sniper moment.
Yeah. What was the one with the you'd hold the ball in your hand and you have to run across? Yeah, it was like a one-hit kill with
the grab
anybody.
hammers.
Yeah.
Dude,
that was a fun game. Man, I missed that.
Splitgate, yes. The Halo killer.
It's cool. That was a cool game, but it died so quick.
Yeah, it did.
I had fun with that game. That was a good game. It's like a Halo.
What was that wizard one? Not the wizard one, but the one we played for like
Spellbreak.
Yeah, Spellbreak.
Spellbreak, yeah.
Played that for like a day, and we're like, "Fuck this."
That was a bad game.
Again, cool concept, but
terrible.
Dude, I hate to like drag it on too long, but I feel like that's another problem with a lot of multiplayer games is it's like hit or miss, sink or swim type of mentality, where if you don't grab a huge player base, these really cool ideas just instantly die,
Yeah.
Whereas single player games, even if they don't necessarily sell well right away, they can be remembered for a long time after. That's can't get like the Halo Reach experience if your game never had a big player base.
I can agree with that.
I feel like Spellbreak
I
was
miss that, man.
Battle Royale Valorant.
Yeah. Now, speaking of single player games, I know I don't have this in here, but Starfield comes out September 6th, I believe. Is anybody interested in that? Because I know that's like the whole open world.
I have,
single player, though.
I have a cousin who is incredibly interested in
I
Starfield.
know you do, yeah.
He's been messaging me every single time there's an update out.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, so he's like been my informant for all of it.
I was hoping we get a crew to play it, but I don't think anybody in our group is all that interested.
It's not multiplayer, is it?
I thought it was.
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was.
Starfield? Are you thinking of something else?
Oh, No Man's Sky 2.
Yeah, no, they're not going to have multiplayer.
Oh, it's okay.
It says they might have a mod for it, but
I think that's what I saw.
Like Skyrim had a mod for it. Yeah, that's Caparina.
Yeah. I mean, some of it's cool, but like me and Connor have our gripes with it, with like the world generation and that kind of stuff.
I'm totally reserved. Don't put me in any compilations. I'm not a part of that. I'm reserving my judgment until I see it.
I am too, but based off the notes that I've seen, it seems like what was it? The worlds that they're already pre.
Okay, so what my informant has told me is that the main hubs are custom made, so they're not going to change. They're not generated. The generated stuff is like preset outposts and things like that. So I don't have a good way of explaining this, but it's basically like a preset fabricated area that'll like plop into the world randomly when you're outside of these hub areas. So you'll still get a full story experience when you're in that area when it generates.
Yeah.
Because it'll be randomized, but the non-random part is that it's a custom made set piece that generates in. So it'll be like, here's clock tower with enemy boss at the top like this, and it'll always be that, but it'll be randomly placed in your world.
Gotcha.
That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure there's other random, actually truly randomized components to the generation, but we will see how that works once it comes out.
Other than that, and a little bit on the combat, I think it'll be fun. I'm excited to see it.
That's one of those games I'm gonna wait to see how it goes.
Yeah, I'll probably wait a little bit.
I'm cautious of like a cyberpunk bullshit where it's going to be so large of a game that computers can't run it, or even like a standard, like a good PC can't run it. Yeah,
it's that like formula has been reversed, because I heard maybe one or two things about Baldur's Gate before it came out. There was no hype train. There's no hype train at all. Zero, none. immediately just pops off because of how good it is within
No,
the
it
first
immediately
week.
popped
Like,
off because they had so many articles about how you could bang a bear.
yeah, but I'm telling you, man. I'm
That's
telling
the
you,
only
man.
thing I
There
saw
were
for like 4
no
days.
articles. There were hardly any articles coming out before. There was no speculation that this was going to be like the best game of the year type material, you know. And then all of a sudden, everybody's playing it.
Dude, I'm telling you, the press cycle kicked off when everybody found out you could bang a bear.
That's true.
That's
That is
literally the first
when
time
I
I heard
first
the
like
game.
found out about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's like literally where the PR came from. Game's wild,
Yeah.
man. I don't have it.
We got a lot of furries playing
Watching y'all
that
stream
game.
it is fun. What's that?
For sure.
Uh,
Something to finish up the night, unless you guys have something. I know me and Connor are pretty big fans of Valheim. I know Noah played it a little bit. We do. It's still in beta mode, and we've been waiting for updates here and there. And just yesterday, I believe it was, they released an Hilder's Request update. This brings some long-awaited server modifiers. Brings Haldor's sister. So there's a new vendor in the world, adds some quests and things like that. Kind of makes it a little cooler of an experience for Valheim. I know it's been a while since they released some updates, but with that update, we also see something called...
you got this update unlocked. We got all the details about Valheim.
There's a bunch of patch notes I'm not going to go over, but I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff they added. Just like the new NPC and some world modifiers are pretty cool. But with this, they have Trial of Tyr, which I know I talked briefly with you guys before, but it seems virtually impossible for anybody that's played this game and played through it. You know how hard some of these bosses are. The Trial of Tyr, whoever wins this, you get a custom-made engraved Viking tankard that'll show your name and completion time. But basically,
Pretty
you
cool.
have to solo run without dying on the hardest mode, beat every single boss in the game as fast as you can. And you have to like Twitch stream or YouTube stream the whole time, so you have proof of it and submit it to them. Wondering what you think, Connor, on how long this will take. I mean, it's a timed event, so it ends September 19th, so it's up to whoever can beat it until then.
There's a reason they're giving them a whole month to do it, that's for sure.
Yeah, the
People
Mistlands is
tearing their hairs out on that. It's a good streamer thing.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say it's a
definitely.
genius marketing thing for them to get more people streaming the game.
Yeah.
For
I
a
think
long
Elden
time,
Ring did
sure.
something like this.
That's smart.
But
I
they're
don't
pretty
remember, though.
strict on the rules. No, obviously no modding. And they actually give you a world seed to use for it. So I'm wondering if the world seed's set up a little differently with enemies. Because I mean, me and Connor have experienced some pretty bad luck in the Mistlands with enemies.
I don't think they would
Um,
change the enemy generation. I think they just put it so that
Maybe.
you can't cheese certain things.
Yeah, but I mean, by yourself doing that, I find it almost impossible. You'd have
Maybe they
to.
make the
Grind that down to
bosses
a
a little bit
science.
closer together, so you're not sitting there wandering around trying to find every biome.
That too. Yeah, that was another big
Mhm.
factor at the time.
But yeah,
I
something
remember that
cool.
taking forever.
Yeah, I've been kind of
Nice.
wait. I mean, we've been waiting for something for Valheim for a while, so this is a nice little update to it.
I've noticed a lot of single player games are like really into that update cycle to keep their games alive as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Don't Starve. I mean, I know you are, but they seem to update their game pretty regularly.
They update it like every month or two.
It's been
Yeah.
out for like how long now, Connor? 4 years?
Years.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I didn't know
They
that.
just recent. Well, the original Don't Starve was out 10 or 11 years ago now, and I think Don't Starve Together has been out for 7 or 8.
Okay.
but I mean, that's a model to follow. They've been updating it, and they're not really charging for content. So they have some content that is
none
right.
of their updates are ever charged. What they charge for is like the skins and stuff.
Yeah, cosmetics and stuff. I mean, that's a cool model to follow. I think if more
Yeah.
indie game developers did that, even bigger developers did that, it would be pretty cool. But
Not many games can say they've stayed relatively alive for that long.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a whole lot.
yeah, anything else you guys want to say?
I don't think so. I think that
That's
wraps
it for
things
me.
up for us.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't already, make sure to subscribe and follow us on our socials. We are updating there a little more regularly. If you haven't already subscribed to the newsletter, hit our website up, and so get a newsletter every Friday going over the top news and games, different game sales, things like that. And we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.